These three questions will change how you do everything. What if I told you there are three simple questions that have the power to completely transform your life? What if the answers to these questions could turn your biggest challenges into your greatest opportunities? Would you dare to ask them? In today's video, we're going to explore three questions that will change how you approach everything in your life: your career, your relationship, and your personal growth. And let me be clear, these are not just any questions. These are the questions that will help you unlock your fullest potential. These are the questions that will help you break free from the limitations you've placed on yourself. Section 1. The power of questioning. Why asking the right questions matters. Host. Before we dive into the three game-changing questions, let's talk about something crucial: the power of asking the right questions. Think about it. Questions shape our lives. Every decision you've ever made, from the smallest daily choices to the biggest life-changing moments, started with a question. What should I have for breakfast? Should I take this job? What if I tried something new today? Each one of these questions sets the stage for our next move. They guide our actions, influence our mindset, and ultimately shape our future. So, if you ask the right questions, you open up new possibilities. But if you ask the wrong ones, you might end up stuck in a loop that limits your potential. Let's look at some of the most brilliant minds in history. Think about Albert Einstein. He famously asked, "What would happen if I could ride alongside a beam of light?" Now, that might sound like an odd question to ask, but that simple question unlocked the mysteries of the universe and led to his groundbreaking work in the theory of relativity. He didn't just accept things as they were. He questioned reality itself, and because of that, we now understand time and space in ways that were once unimaginable. Or consider Steve Jobs. We all know how revolutionary the iPhone was, but do you know where it all began? It started with one question: what if technology could be both functional and beautiful? Jobs didn't just want a phone that worked. He wanted something that was intuitive, elegant, and user-friendly. That vision changed the way we interact with the world and led to the creation of the iPhone, a device that has reshaped communication, entertainment, and even business. Here's the thing: asking the right questions has the power to push the boundaries of what we think is possible. But how many of us get caught up in asking the wrong questions? We ask, "Why me?" or "What's wrong with me?" Maybe we even get stuck in self-doubt, questioning our worth or our abilities. Am I good enough? Can I really do this? Sound familiar? These questions keep us stuck. They lead us down a negative path, focusing on limitations instead of possibilities. They pull us into a cycle of fear and insecurity that holds us back from reaching our full potential. But what if you could shift your mindset? What if you could turn those negative, limiting questions into powerful, life-changing ones? What if the key to unlocking your greatest potential lies in asking just the right questions? Now, I'm going to share three questions with you today, three game changers. These questions will shift your mindset, help you think differently, and elevate your life to new heights. They'll help you break free from the cycle of self-doubt and start thinking bigger, bolder, and more creatively. Let's dive into these questions. First, let's ask, what's the best thing that could happen? Sounds simple, right? But think about it. When was the last time you thought about the best possible outcome in a situation? We're often so focused on what could go wrong, what we're afraid of, or what we don't have. But what if you flipped the script? What if you focused on the possibilities, on the exciting opportunities that are waiting for you? Imagine if you started every day asking, what's the best thing that could happen today? That simple shift in perspective could open doors you didn't even know existed. Second, ask yourself, how can I turn this challenge into an opportunity? Every one of us faces obstacles in life. It's a given. But it's how we respond to those obstacles that matters. Are we going to let them defeat us, or can we find a way to turn them into something that propels us forward? Think about someone you admire, maybe a successful entrepreneur or a leader you look up to. Do you think they've had an easy ride? Absolutely not. They've faced their share of setbacks. But what sets them apart is their ability to find opportunities within those challenges. They don't run from problems. They lean into them and use them as stepping stones to success. Finally ask, what would my future self thank me for? Think about that for a second. Imagine you're looking back on today from a year, 5 years, or even 10 years from now. What decision would you be most grateful for? The one you made today. The choices you make now will shape your future. So when you face a decision, big or small, ask yourself, what would my future self thank me for? This question helps you make choices that align with your long-term goals, not just your short-term comfort. Now, these aren't just theoretical questions. These are practical, actionable questions you can start using right away. And I promise, if you start asking yourself these questions on a regular basis, you'll see a shift in your mindset. You'll start noticing new possibilities, new opportunities, and a newfound sense of purpose. So, here's my challenge for you. Starting today, make a commitment to ask these questions. Ask yourself, what's the best thing that could happen? How can I turn this challenge into an opportunity? And what would my future self thank me for? Because when you ask the right questions, you begin to uncover the answers that will change your life. Remember, you have the power to create the life you want, and it all starts with the questions you ask. So, ask yourself, are you ready to start asking the right questions and taking your life to the next level? Let's make today the start of something new. Let's go, ask away. And with all the exos in the world, a fade out with upbeat music, no 2. Voiceover script, extended version, an opening scene, a person sitting at a desk staring blankly at their computer feeling frustrated. Then they take a deep breath and shift to a clearer, focused expression. Have you ever had one of those days where nothing seems to go right? Maybe you're sitting there, feeling completely stuck, and all you can think is, why can't I just get it together? It's so easy to get caught up in these feelings of frustration, right? But here's the thing. Every time you face a problem, whether it's something at work, in your relationships, or even within yourself, the natural reaction is to focus on the symptoms of the problem. Cut to someone looking at their phone, overwhelmed with notifications. Maybe you think things like, I'm not good enough, or I'll never succeed. These thoughts swirl around in your head, feeding into that sense of helplessness. But here's the kicker. Those thoughts? They're just the surface-level reactions. They're not the real issue. When we get stuck in that cycle of negative thinking, it's hard to see the bigger picture. The real challenge here isn't the obstacle in front of you. Whether it's a project deadline, a difficult conversation, or even a personal goal you're struggling to meet. No, the real challenge is something deeper. A scene shows a person looking introspective as if contemplating a deeper question. The real challenge is this: what is the root cause of this problem? Scene cuts to someone sitting with a journal, reflecting on their thoughts. Think about it for a second. When you face a problem, your first reaction might be to blame external factors. It's the economy, or I don't have enough time, or I'm just unlucky. But those are just the symptoms. The real challenge? It's not something that's happening out there. It's something that's happening within you. And I want you to take a moment right now and really think, what's the real challenge here? Scene switches to a person pausing their work, taking a deep breath, and asking themselves the question, is it fear? Maybe you're scared of failing or afraid of what others will think. Or maybe it's a lack of clarity. You don't really know where to start, or you're unsure of the next step to take. Sometimes it's as simple as not having enough knowledge or experience to tackle what's in front of you. Scene cuts to a person reading a book or watching a tutorial on something they're struggling with. Once you dig deep enough to identify the real challenge, that's when the magic starts to happen. When you uncover the root cause of your frustration, suddenly everything starts to make sense. It's like shining a flashlight in a dark room. You can see where to step and where to avoid. You get a sense of clarity, You know what you're really up against, and now you can find the right tools to deal with it. Scene shows a person confidently overcoming an obstacle or solving a problem. Here's a personal story. A few years ago, I was stuck in a rut. I felt overwhelmed with the direction my career was heading. I wasn't where I thought I'd be. I kept thinking, I'm just not good enough, or I'll never make it. And let me tell you, those thoughts almost kept me paralyzed. But then one day I asked myself, what's the real challenge here? I realized that it wasn't that I wasn't good enough. It was that I wasn't clear about what I truly wanted. I had all these goals, but none of them were aligned with what I really valued. So I took a step back, realigned my vision, and found the courage to take the next steps. The moment I found the root cause, the solution appeared right in front of me. Cut to a person looking empowered, ready to tackle the day. Life is always going to throw curveballs. Problems are inevitable, but the ones who rise above them aren't the ones who just try to avoid them or wish them away. They're the ones who dig deep, ask the tough questions, and get to the heart of the issue. Once they know what truly stands in their way, they become unstoppable. They know the problem is not the thing they can't control, it's the thing they can solve by looking inward. A scene cuts to someone smiling as they tackle a challenge with newfound confidence. Now, I'm not saying this is always easy. Sometimes it takes time and effort to uncover the real challenge. But if you can make this shift from focusing on symptoms to identifying the root cause, you'll start seeing problems as opportunities to grow. Scene shows a person writing in a notebook or planning their next move. So next time you're faced with a challenge, ask yourself, what is the real challenge here? And then, take that first step toward uncovering what's really holding you back. You'll be amazed at how much clarity and strength you find within yourself. Seeings from success. The lesson alone. The road to success isn't about avoiding problems, ready to take on the world. It's about embracing them, learning from them, and rising above them. So, what's your next move? What's the real challenge you're going to face head on? Don't let anything stop you. You've got this. Inspirational music fades out. This version is more extended, using simple and relatable language, real-life examples, and an inspiring tone to engage viewers emotionally. The call to action at the end invites the audience to take immediate action in their own lives. No 3. Section 3, Question 2. Who do I need to become to overcome this? Whether it's physical, mental, or emotional. Voiceover. Life throws challenges at us all the time. Sometimes it feels like the obstacles just keep stacking up, doesn't it? And when we're facing something tough, the first thing we think about is what we need to do to fix it. We think, what's the solution? What steps can I take to get through this? But what if I told you that the most important question you can ask yourself isn't, what do I need to do, but who do I need to become? Cut to a close-up of someone contemplating deeply, reflecting. Voiceover. It sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful, because the truth is, the challenges you face today, whether in your career, relationships, or personal growth, require you to evolve. To level up, you need to step into a new version of yourself. Think about it. The person who is already living the life you dream of, they aren't just doing different things, they are different. They've become the version of themselves that success requires. And you can too. So, let's break it down. Who do you need to become? Scene shifts to a person training, practicing skills, or pushing through a tough situation. Voiceover. Maybe for you it's becoming more disciplined. You know that consistency is key, but you've been struggling to stay on track. Maybe you've got big dreams, but you're still procrastinating. The person you need to become is someone who doesn't wait for the perfect moment. They create the moment by showing up every single day, even when they don't feel like it. Quick cut to a person waking up early to work out or study. Voiceover. Or perhaps it's about becoming more confident. Confidence doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from knowing you can handle anything that comes your way. It comes from making mistakes, failing, and getting back up. Every time you take a step forward, you're building that confidence. And the more you embody it, the more you'll find that the challenges ahead aren't as intimidating as they seemed at first. Scene of someone confidently speaking in front of a group or handling a difficult situation. Voiceover. Maybe it's about becoming more compassionate. We live in a world that sometimes values hustle over heart, but empathy, kindness, and understanding are powerful tools that can change the world around you. Becoming someone who listens, who is patient, who chooses to lift others up, is something that not only strengthens your relationships, but empowers you to lead in a way that inspires. Scene shows someone helping others, giving advice or offering a supportive gesture. Voiceover. And let's not forget, becoming someone who embraces discomfort. Life doesn't always hand us smooth paths. The truth is, growth requires discomfort. It's when we face our fears, push through pain, or step into the unknown that we experience real transformation. So, ask yourself, what's the discomfort I need to embrace in order to grow? Because the person you want to become is waiting on the other side of that fear. Cut to someone pushing themselves through a difficult challenge. Whether it's running, facing a fear, or having a tough conversation. Voiceover. You see, every time you want to level up, you're going to be required to step into a new version of yourself. It's not just about the actions you take, it's about the mindset you adopt and the identity you create for yourself. Take, for example, Oprah Winfrey. She didn't just become the media mogul and philanthropist we know today by reading books or following someone else's path. She became the person who refused to let her past define her. She became someone who believed in her worth and potential, even when the world told her otherwise. It wasn't just about doing things differently, it was about being different. And that's the real secret. When you become the person you need to be, the steps you need to take become clear. This is now Scene shows a person sitting, reflecting, and journaling. Voiceover. So, here's the challenge for you. Ask yourself, who do I need to become in order to overcome this challenge? Really think about it. Maybe it's a version of yourself who doesn't quit when things get tough. Maybe it's someone who chooses growth over comfort. Maybe it's someone who believes deep down that success is inevitable because they are willing to evolve. Cut to a person looking at themselves in the mirror with confidence. Voiceover. Once you have the answer, start embodying that person today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for next week. The best time to start stepping into that version of yourself is right now, because every small shift you make brings you closer to the person who already has what you want. Scene of a person taking action, making a decision, starting a project, or having a conversation. Voiceover. Your challenges are powerful, but the person you need to become is even more powerful. And the more you focus on becoming that person, the more those challenges will start to lose their power over you. The scene transitions to the person walking confidently toward their goals. Voiceover. So my question for you is this. What version of yourself will you choose to become today? You've got everything inside you to overcome anything that stands in your way, because who you need to be is already within you. You just need to step into it. Don't wait. Don't wait. Get in your car. Don't wait. Get in your car. Get in your car. The world is waiting for you to show up. Read fakes out, and the screen displays, the journey begins with you. This version includes relatable situations and examples, along with emotional engagement, to keep the listener hooked and inspired throughout the 6-8-minute voiceover. No 4, cut to a close-up of a hand reaching out, symbolizing action. Here's a question we all face at some point. What's the one thing I can do right now to move forward? We've all been there, right? Staring at our goals, our dreams, and suddenly they seem miles away. It's easy to feel paralyzed, overwhelmed by everything we think we need to do. We begin to think, how can I possibly get everything done? Or what if I fail? But here's the truth. No one ever climbed a mountain in one giant leap, not even the biggest achievers. They got there step by step, day by day. And that's exactly what you can do too. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a moment where you felt like the next step was just too big to take? Maybe you've got a huge project on your plate, a dream that feels out of reach, or a goal that seems impossible. I've been there too. And that's when this question becomes a game changer. When you ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do right now? It forces you to shift your focus. It stops you from looking at the entire mountain and helps you see the first small step that'll get you closer to the top. Think about it. A baby doesn't learn to walk by trying to sprint across a room. They start by taking small steps, falling, and getting up again. It's the same with anything in life. Big changes don't happen overnight. They happen with consistent, focused action. You might be thinking, what does that one thing look like? It's not always a big dramatic action. It could be as simple as sending an email, writing down a single sentence, or making a phone call you've been putting off. It could even be something as small as taking a deep breath and refocusing. Here's a real-life example. Have you ever heard of Thomas Edison? We all know him as the inventor of the light bulb, but do you know how many failures he faced before that moment of success? Thousands. Yet every time he failed, he didn't give up. He asked himself, what's the one thing I can do right now to move forward? And every time, he took that small step. Whether it was tweaking his design, learning from his mistakes, or pushing through the setbacks, he kept moving forward, one small action at a time. So what does that look like for you? Maybe you're working on building a business, finishing a project, or chasing a personal goal. Maybe you're just trying to get through a tough day. Whatever it is, the key is to take action, even if it feels like a small or insignificant one. Let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I was stuck in a creative rut. My ideas weren't flowing, and the pressure to come up with something huge was weighing on me. But then I remembered this question. What's the one thing I can do right now to move forward? I took out a pen and wrote down the first idea that came to mind, no matter how imperfect. It wasn't much, but it was something. And that one action opened the door to a flow of new ideas, projects, and opportunities. You don't need to see the whole picture right now. You don't need to have all the answers, all the steps, or all the confidence. You just need to focus on the next step. That's the power of this question. It cuts through the noise and helps you focus on what you can control, the next small action that will bring you closer to where you want to be. Now, here's something I want you to keep in mind. Small actions add up. Think about a snowball rolling down a hill. At first it's tiny, almost unnoticeable, but as it moves forward, it picks up more and more snow, and before you know it, that tiny snowball is a massive force. That's how small steps work. And don't think that your action has to be perfect. The point isn't to get it all right on the first try, it's to keep moving. Sometimes it's about taking imperfect action rather than waiting for the perfect moment that may never come. And here's the thing about action, it leads to momentum. The more you take those small steps, the more confidence you build. You'll start to feel like, wow, I'm actually doing this. And that momentum is like rocket fuel for your journey. It propels you forward. But let's be real for a second. Sometimes we don't take that first step because we're scared. We're afraid of failing, of looking foolish, or of not being good enough. I get it. We all have that fear. But here's something I want you to remember. You don't have to take a giant leap today. Just take one small step. And guess what? It doesn't matter if you fall or stumble. You get back up and you keep going. You are stronger than you think. You are capable of more than you know. And sometimes it just takes asking yourself, what's the one thing I can do right now to get the ball rolling? So, here's your challenge for today. Whatever goal you're working toward, whatever dream you're chasing, ask yourself this question. What's the one thing I can do right now to move forward? It doesn't matter how small it is. Just take that first step. And I promise you, the rest will follow. Remember, the road ahead might not always be easy, but as long as you keep moving, one step at a time, you're heading in the right direction. Now, it's your turn. What's your first step? Whatever it is, take it today. You've got this. 4. Omenino 5. So let's review those 3 life-changing questions. What is the real challenge here? Who do I need to become to overcome this? What's the one thing I can do right now to move forward? Cut to host. Standing with a powerful expression. These aren't just questions to ask yourself when you're in a tough spot. They're not just little prompts to write down in a journal and forget about. These are tools. Tools for growth, for unlocking your potential. They're the foundation of a life driven by purpose, clarity, and most importantly, action. Think about it for a second. Have you ever faced a situation where you felt completely stuck? Maybe you were overwhelmed by a big project, dealing with a personal setback, or just trying to figure out the next step in life. It happens to all of us. But here's the thing. When we ask ourselves the right questions, everything can shift. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. When was the last time you hit a roadblock? Maybe it was that dream you put on hold, that idea you never followed through on, or that fear that stopped you in your tracks. I get it. It's easy to get caught in the whirlwind of doubt, but those questions, they change the game. Let's break it down. The first one, what is the real challenge here? It's easy to get distracted by surface-level problems, right? Maybe you think your challenge is the pressure at work, or that you don't have enough time, or that you're just not good enough. But if you dig deeper, you might realize that the real challenge isn't external, it's internal. It's the fear, the uncertainty, or the belief that you're not capable. But what if the real challenge is simply changing the way you look at things? Now, who do I need to become to overcome this? It's not about the person you are right now, but about the person you need to become. Imagine you're the person who's already figured it out. What qualities do they have? Confidence, resilience, persistence. Once you have that image in your mind, you can start moving toward it, one small step at a time. And finally, what's the one thing I can do right now to move forward? This is huge. It's easy to say, I'll start tomorrow, or I'll do it when I have more time, but today is all we really have. Right now, you can take action. It doesn't have to be a big leap. Maybe it's sending that email, making that call, or having that conversation you've been avoiding. Whatever it is, do it now. Take that one step, and momentum will build from there. Pause, build the moment. These questions, they're not just for when life's throwing curveballs at you. They're the questions that, when asked regularly, can completely transform the way you live and think. They'll keep you grounded, focused, and moving forward, no matter what life throws your way. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you really challenged yourself to grow? Not just in the easy moments, but when things felt uncertain. It's easy to stay comfortable, right? To stick with what you know. But what if the magic, the growth, the success lives on the other side of discomfort? I've been there too. There was a time when I was stuck, unsure of my next move. I asked myself, what is the real challenge here? And realized it wasn't the task at hand. It was my own fear of failure. Once I acknowledged that, I could move forward. And I did. One small step at a time, and you can too. But here's the thing. Growth isn't always a straight line. There will be days when you stumble, when doubt creeps in. That's part of the process, and it's okay. But those 3 questions, they'll keep you on track. They'll help you focus on what truly matters. Music swells, inspiring tone. So, I challenge you today. The next time you face a roadblock, big or small, ask yourself these three questions. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. What is the real challenge here? Who do I need to become to overcome this? What's the one thing I can do right now to move forward? Because you have everything you need inside you to break through. You are capable of so much more than you realize. Don't let doubt control you. It's time to rise. The answers you seek, they're already within you. It's time to go find them. The world is waiting for you to step up. So take that first step. Make it count. The screen fades to black with a call to action text. Subscribe, like, and take action now. This version keeps the core message of your original script intact, but adds more depth and real-life scenarios to make it relatable and emotionally engaging, while also giving a bit more context and motivation for the viewer to take action now.